talk to you about something.
Baby, I know what you want to talk to me about. And I don't want you to apologize for it, because love means never having to say that you're sorry. Do you know what I mean?
4 Christmases earned $164 million worldwide. But it nearly didn't get finished. Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn's conflict was so bad that production had to pause multiple times. Insiders reveal Vince's improvisation style wasn't the real issue. It was something much more personal. Reese later spoke about toxic dynamics in Hollywood without naming names. She was talking about him. The truth about their on-set clash involves a refused scene, a skipped premiere, and a feud that lasted over a decade. Reese Witherspoon came into the world on March 22, 1976, in New Orleans, with a name that felt bigger than she was: Laura Jean Reese Witherspoon. Her parents were already deep into demanding careers. Her father was an otolaryngologist and a U.S. Army Reserve lieutenant colonel. Her mother earned a Ph.D. and later became a pediatric nursing professor at Vanderbilt. For the first 4 years of her life, she lived in Wiesbaden in West Germany because of her father's military service. The routines there were strict, and the community was structured, and she absorbed that rhythm before she even understood it. When the family returned to the United States in 1980, they settled in Nashville. Life felt rooted there, warm and disciplined, and Reese grew up with her older brother John Jr. in a home where academics and hard work were simply normal. She later attended Harpeth Hall School, a place that shaped her, pushed her, and showed her what ambition could look like at a young age. At 7, everything shifted a little when a friend's parents picked her to appear in a local florist's television ads. The moment she faced the camera, she felt something spark. She liked it. She wanted more. She signed up for acting lessons and began dreaming of movie roles, even though most kids her age were still figuring out what they wanted to be. But she also got her first taste of rejection. She was too short for some modeling gigs and felt that sting early. Yet she stayed with it. That persistence grew with every commercial she landed. The work was small, but each job made her a little braver and a little more steady in front of the camera. She pushed herself in school, too. First at Harding Academy, then at Harpeth Hall. Her parents called her Little Type A because she wanted everything done right. Then came 1987 when she was 11, and something important happened. She won first place at the 10-state talent fair. That single moment made her feel like she could truly perform. Her parents noticed it too, even though they always hoped she would end up in medicine. Her win got local attention, and that praise fed her confidence and helped her see a future that didn't look like anyone else's around her. But home life carried its own weight. After her father's military service ended, money became tight. Her mother worked long hours as a labor and delivery nurse to keep things steady. There were nights and weekends when Reese and her brother had to manage on their own. She watched her mother stretch paychecks and navigate stress without showing fear. Those memories shaped her beliefs about money and independence. Her mother often told her that your job is your life insurance, and warned her never to let anyone else control her finances. Those lessons stayed with Reese and returned to her later, when the world of Hollywood began to twist in unpredictable ways. Her career truly began at 14, when she landed the role of Danny Trent in The Man in the Moon in 1991. Thousands of girls had auditioned. She impressed the casting team even though she had no formal training. Filming took place in Natchitoches in Louisiana, and the southern setting fit her like a familiar breeze. During the first kiss scene with Jason London, she was so nervous that she rehearsed it over 50 times. Her perfectionism showed even then. The film earned critical praise and pushed her toward a bigger world. 2 years later, she found herself far away in the Kalahari Desert, filming A Far-Off Place in 1993. She played Nani Parker and had to survive brutal heat, freezing nights, and long stretches of rough desert. The production brought in an international crew and even taught the cast survival skills like digging for roots and making fire. The elephants in the story were foam latex creations painted by hand, but they looked so real that some crew members cried the first time they saw them. The work was grueling, yet it toughened her and taught her what a big-budget production demanded. That same year, she went into television at 17 with Return to Lonesome Dove. It was shot in Texas and came with extreme weather. Weeks of blistering heat and long hours on horseback wore everyone down. Younger actors struggled the most, and she felt that pressure too. Still, she adapted and pushed forward. By November 1993, when the miniseries aired, she had already learned how unpredictable and demanding television shoots could be. At 18, she took a sharp turn towards something darker with SFW in 1994. The role involved simulated hostage scenes and violent themes. It was intense and uncomfortable. Indie films at the time often pushed boundaries, and this one did too. It brought controversy, but it also let her show range and courage. She was learning that Hollywood wasn't simple, and that taking risks mattered if she wanted longevity. During these years, she kept modeling and doing commercials. A Chevrolet ad from 1988 helped her save enough money to move to Los Angeles later on. She skipped a full Stanford enrollment to chase acting instead. It was a bold step for someone so young, but she always leaned toward leap first, learn after. That choice helped her secure bigger roles faster than anyone expected. Then came Fear in 1996. She was only 19 when she starred opposite Mark Wahlberg. The movie earned $20 million at the box office, but behind the camera, things were tense. Director James Foley improvised an intimate scene that wasn't in the script, and it left her feeling unsafe. Wahlberg's method acting blurred lines and made her genuinely frightened during aggressive scenes. The film was shot in Seattle, and the atmosphere on set felt unpredictable. Her fear on screen came from a real place, and that experience changed how she approached future roles. Later that same year, she stepped into Freeway. She played Vanessa Lutz, a girl escaping abuse, and the story twisted familiar fairy tale themes into something raw and edgy. It premiered at Sundance, competed for the Grand Jury Prize, and became a cult favorite after HBO screenings. Her fearless performance earned her an Independent Spirit Award nomination when she was only 20. The film proved she could handle difficult material and carry a story that didn't shy away from darkness. In 1998, she appeared in Pleasantville, a film that let her blend comedy with complexity. She played Jennifer and Mary Sue Parker across two different worlds, shifting between black and white and full-color scenes. The special effects team spent months perfecting lighting transitions, making every frame feel alive. The film earned more than $40 million worldwide and brought her an MTV Movie Award for Best Breakthrough Performance. Her chemistry with Tobey Maguire stood out, and audiences loved the message about embracing change. That same year, she filmed Twilight alongside legends like Paul Newman, Gene Hackman, and Susan Sarandon. The movie earned $15.1 million and did not reach the numbers people expected, but the lessons she learned working with seasoned actors stayed with her. She watched how they moved through scenes, how they controlled emotion, and how small choices could shape entire moments. Also in 1998, she starred in Overnight Delivery with Paul Rudd. It never reached theaters and went straight to video, but it mattered for her development. It was filmed in Minnesota in 1996, using real local spots, and she landed the role over Joey Lauren Adams. The direct-to-video release meant less attention from the industry, yet it gave her space to practice comedic timing and natural chemistry with co-stars. Reese Witherspoon's rise did not happen in a straight line. It moved in quick sparks and long stretches of quiet work. And once it caught fire in 1999, it felt like something that refused to slow down. Her role as Annette Hargrove in Cruel Intentions came first that year. The movie opened on March 5, 1999, and pulled in $13 million in its first weekend. Soon it crossed $38 million in the United States on a budget of $10.5 million. She was only 23, but the way she played Annette made people pause. There was a softness in her performance, but there was strength too, and it made audiences lean forward. Overnight, she went from a young actress with promise to someone the whole industry watched closely. It lifted her straight into the A-list, and it happened so fast that it almost felt unreal. But right after that, something else happened. Just weeks later, in April 1999, election came out, and suddenly, people were not just seeing her as a rising star. They were seeing her as a serious force. Her performance as Tracy Flick was sharp and intense. She carried that character like she had lived inside her head for years. The film made $22.5 million on a $6 million budget, and critics could not stop talking about her. She earned her first Golden Globe nomination for it, and that nomination opened doors that teen roles never could. Tracy Flick became a pop culture reference, and Reese became the person everyone tied to ambition, control, and quiet chaos. It pushed her far ahead of where anyone expected her to be. Still, she kept exploring different corners of her career. In 2001, she tried something light and family-friendly by voicing Serena in The Trumpet of the Swan. The animated film came out on June 21, 2001. It ran for 75 minutes and made only $10 million worldwide, but it marked her first step into voice acting. It showed she was willing to move around creatively rather than follow one predictable track. She worked beside big names like Jason Alexander and Carol Burnett, and even though the movie did not break records, it added another layer to her early career. Before that, she had already tested herself in smaller indie work. Best Laid Plans came out on May 13, 1999, where she played Kathy, a blonde con artist mixed into a messy night that spirals into danger. The film earned just $1.2 million, but it gave her a gritty space to experiment. It was the kind of film that did not attract crowds, but did catch the attention of people who watched performance closely. It showed she could move from slick teen drama to something darker without losing control of her character. Those small choices often do more for an actor than the big flashy roles. Because of roles like that, by the end of 1999, she started turning down teen scripts. Most young actresses would have grabbed everyone they could, but she knew the trap. She knew she could get stuck as the cute girl, the sweet girl, the predictable girl everyone expected. So she said no. She said it again and again, even when the money and fame were tempting. That decision changed her career. It set up the early 2000s for her, and it shaped the path that led to Legally Blonde and Sweet Home Alabama. But back in 1999, something more personal was happening on set. During Cruel Intentions, that rain-soaked kiss between her and Ryan Philippe changed more than the scene. It started their real relationship. They married later that year and eventually had 2 children together. On set, people whispered about tension, especially involving Sarah Michelle Gellar. Crew members noted little bits of jealousy in the air, moments of discomfort, scenes that felt heavier behind the camera than they looked on screen. That film carried on-screen drama and off-screen drama, and both followed Reese for years afterward. Then came Legally Blonde in 2001. This role could have turned her into a stereotype forever. Producers wanted Elle Woods to be a simple joke, a walking cloud of pink with nothing deeper. But Reese pushed back. At Harpeth Hall in Nashville, she had already learned that bright and strong could exist together. She fought for Elle to be smart, ambitious, and real. When the movie came out, it made $141 million worldwide and became an instant cultural moment. Ella Woods turned into a symbol for young women, and thousands of people later said the movie pushed them toward law school. That role proved Reese was more than an actress. She understood stories. She understood audiences. She understood her worth. A year later, in 2002, she starred in Sweet Home Alabama as Melanie Smooter, and the world fell in love with her all over again. The movie earned $180 million worldwide on a $38 million budget, with a $35.6 million opening weekend that surprised even the studio. It gave her a new kind of fame and cemented her as a rom-com queen for the early 2000s. The charm she carried in that film felt effortless. Locations across Georgia, like Greer's Ferry Lake and Atlanta, gave the movie its southern heartbeat, and audiences responded with full theaters and repeat viewings. That same year, she shifted again into a different world with the importance of being earnest. She played Cecily Cardew, stepping into Oscar Wilde's language and tone with ease. Filming took place in historic British locations, including West Wycombe Park, where the production paid £50,000 just to use the estate. Dame Judi Dench joined the cast, playing Lady Bracknell for a third time, and even her daughter Finty Williams showed up for a cameo. The film carried old-world humor and elegance, and Reese fit inside it as if she had been born into period pieces. It proved she could step into international work and hold her ground. Then came the moment that changed everything. Walk the Line hit theaters on November 18, 2005, and Reese's performance as June Carter Cash pulled her into a new league. The film made $186 million worldwide and earned 5 Academy Award nominations. On March 5, 2006, at the Kodak Theater, she won the Oscar for Best Actress. That night, she thanked her team and honored June Carter's strength and heart. To prepare for the role, she lost 20 pounds and learned the auto harp in secret. It was the most demanding work she had done up to that point, and it became the turning point of her entire career. Later that same year, she appeared in Just Like Heaven, released on September 16, 2005. The supernatural rom-com earned $16.4 million in its first weekend from 3,508 theaters and went on to make $102.8 million worldwide. It mixed humor with a strange, quiet sadness, and Reese carried the emotional weight of a character who was both present and not present. Audiences loved the soft heart of the film, and it kept her momentum alive. By 2006, she had stepped behind the camera, too. Penelope premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival that year. Reese played Annie, but she was also one of the producers. It was a fairy tale about curses and acceptance, filmed at Pinewood Studios in London. Christina Ricci starred as Penelope Wilhern, and the story leaned into whimsy and heart. Producing it showed what Reese wanted for her future. She wanted control, creativity, and room to bring stories to life her own way. Reese Witherspoon stepped into marriage young and hopeful in June 1999, still glowing from the rush of cruel intentions, and it felt like the start of a story everyone expected to last. Their daughter Ava arrived in October that same year, and for a moment the picture looked perfect. Then in 2003, their son Deacon was born, adding another layer to the life they were building. But things slowly shifted. By 2006, whispers spread that Ryan Phillippe was involved with Abby Cornish, and those whispers grew louder until they became the shadow hanging over their house. On October 30, 2006, the couple said they were separating, and by November 8, Reese filed for divorce. They spoke gently in public, saying they were sad but committed to co-parenting. Inside, though, The weight of the rumors and the pressure of fame left marks. Their divorce became final in 2007, closing a chapter that had once looked like a dream, but ended under bright lights that never seemed to dim. Years later, another moment pulled her into headlines again. On November 21, 2013, she sat in the passenger seat while her second husband, Jim Toth, was pulled over for suspected DUI. His reading was 0.139, clearly over the limit, and everything spun out quickly. Reese stepped out of the car even when officers told her not to. She argued, stumbled on her words, and insisted they did not know who she was. The body cam footage caught her frustration as she warned them that this would become national news. She was charged with disorderly conduct, while Toth faced DUI charges, and both were released the next morning. She pleaded no contest, paid a $213 fine, and entered a program that kept her out of jail. The media turned the story into a storm, and she later said the night was horrific. That apology marked the beginning of a quieter shift in how she carried herself. Her second marriage had begun with warmth in March 2011. Reese and Jim Toth settled into a calm rhythm and welcomed their son, Tennessee, in 2012. But by March 2023, after 12 years, they announced their separation. She cited irreconcilable differences, and by August, the divorce was finalized. Soon after, she listed their Nashville home for $17 million and sold it later in the year. People whispered that infidelity played a part, but neither shared details. Around the same time, Hello Sunshine's sale created pressure for both of them, a moment Reese later described as a real gut check. The timing made the split feel even heavier, and fans watched closely as she balanced heartbreak with her growing empire. That empire had begun in 2011 when she created Hello Sunshine to lift women's stories. Slowly, the company started shaping hits. Gone Girl arrived in 2014. Big Little Lies followed in 2017 and kept her name glowing through 2019. Then, in August 2021, everything changed. A Blackstone-backed media group bought Hello Sunshine for $900 million, and Reese became a billionaire overnight. She said the deal would help the company grow without losing its mission. She and Sarah Hardin kept equity and joined the new board. Hollywood stepped back and recognized what she had built. A new force that proved female-driven stories were not a trend but a future. That same vision powered her work in Big Little Lies, where she played Madeline Mackenzie from 2017 to 2019. The show cut deep into domestic abuse and hidden pain. Critics praised its honesty, and the ensemble became the heartbeat of HBO. In 2017, the show collected 8 Emmy Awards. Reese won as an executive producer for Outstanding Limited Series, and the praise for her performance kept rising. She felt the role mattered because it gave voice to women who lived in silence for too long. The success pushed her further into producing, proving she was more than the charming face Hollywood had once boxed her into. But none of this growth happened without looking inward. After her arrest in 2013, she went to therapy to confront anxiety, depression, and her relationship with alcohol. She later said therapy helped her understand herself in ways she had avoided for years. She thought about her grandmother and how mental health once carried shame, and she felt grateful she had the chance to face things directly. Through therapy, she found a steadier voice and carried that into her portrayal of Bradley Jackson in The Morning Show. The reinvention made her stronger, helped her survive public judgment, and encouraged others to seek help without fear. Meanwhile, Vince Vaughn's story began far from Hollywood lights. He was born on March 28, 1970, in Minneapolis, and moved to Lake Forest, Illinois, at age 8. His mother, Sharon, worked in real estate and stocks, while his father, Vernon, worked in sales. At Lake Forest High School, he tried football, baseball, and wrestling, but he called himself very average. Even so, something else was growing inside him. He acted in school plays and tried improv while still a teenager. Watching his mother push through obstacles taught him that effort could open doors. By 17, in 1987, he decided acting might be his way forward and landed a Chevrolet commercial that same year. That small break nudged him toward Hollywood. In 1988, he moved to California with the confidence that the commercial had given him. Over the next 2 years, he appeared on China Beach and in CBS school break specials. He circled back to Chicago's improv scene for a while, sharpening his timing, then returned to Los Angeles, where rejection became routine in the early 1990s. In 1993, he booked his first film role in Rudy as Jamie O'Hara. Small roles followed, each one pushing his name a little higher. Then, 1996 changed everything. Jon Favreau wrote Swingers and gave Vaughn the role of Trent. The film took off in the indie world, and the phrase Vegas Baby wrapped itself around him wherever he went. His rising fame did not protect him from trouble. In April 2001, in Wilmington, North Carolina, he was filming Domestic Disturbance when a night out at the Firebelly Lounge turned violent. It began with tension over someone's girlfriend and erupted into a fight involving Vaughn, Steve Buscemi, and Scott Rosenberg. A local man named Timothy W. Fogarty pulled a knife and stabbed Buscemi 9 times across the head, throat, and arm. Police arrested Vaughn and Rosenberg for a fray, and each posted a $600 bond. Vaughn later entered a no-contest plea. The charge was dropped 6 months later, and he paid a $250 fine. Buscemi recovered, but the story spread fast, leaving a mark on Vaughn's reputation. By the time 4 Christmases went into production, both Vaughn and Reese carried personal histories that shaped how they worked. The film's budget was hefty, at $80 million when it released on November 26, 2008. Vaughn, who stood at 6'5", took on a co-producer role, adding more weight to his involvement. The pressure was heavy, as the studio hoped for another hit after Wedding Crashers in 2005. The movie eventually earned $164 million worldwide. Yet behind the scenes, the tension between Vaughn and Reese simmered. Reese arrived at 5 in the morning, ready to rehearse and run lines with precision. Vaughn showed up late, sometimes looking worn out, and relied on improvisation that clashed with her structured style. Crew members felt the strain each day. Arguments broke out over blocking and line delivery. People whispered about Vaughn's glare when he grew frustrated. Still, they had to work together, especially in scenes where their height difference became a challenge. The 15-inch gap between them meant Vaughn had to lift Reese during some dance moments. Those lifts became strange symbols of cooperation in a set full of friction. Their mismatch deepened as filming progressed. Reese pushed for careful timing. Vaughn threw out new lines mid-scene. She grew irritated when his ad-libs disrupted the rhythm she built. He grew resentful when she insisted on strict structure. Insiders said his stare turned sharp in those moments, and the crew often had to wait while the two sorted out their clashing instincts. Every scene became a negotiation. Then one more pressure point arrived. In late 2007, still working through her divorce finalized in 2007, Reese asked for script changes. The story's messy family portrayals felt too raw. Production paused as writers softened scenes to match her emotional state. This pushed the budget even higher and slowed everything again. After filming, Vaughn double-booked press events. Reese ended up promoting the movie almost entirely on her own. He even skipped the premiere. Many saw it as payback for the conflict on set. Reese tried to smooth things out in interviews, calling him funny, but the public sensed the distance. The tension had already reached a breaking point months earlier. During production in 2007, Reese refused to film a scripted love scene she felt was too raunchy for her image after her Oscar win. Sources whispered that she was too irritated with Vaughn to fake intimacy. The studio cut the scene to avoid another blow-up. That rift followed them long after the release. They never gave a joint interview again after 2010. Reese built Hello Sunshine and reshaped her career. Vaughn drifted from leading roles and focused on smaller projects. In later interviews, Reese spoke about toxic dynamics in Hollywood, hinting at past clashes without naming names. The irony landed quietly when both later faced DUI-related incidents, hers in 2013 and his in 2018. But only one of them rebuilt their path with a sharp turn. Reese rose higher through business and storytelling. Vaughn stepped into a quieter corner of the industry. Their feud became part of Hollywood history, a reminder of how two strong personalities can turn a simple holiday movie into years of fallout.